Cool.
What?
So
we're live. My God.
yes,
What
we
happened,
are
Matt?
live, and it's 2 weeks since we last met. We recorded the last show rather than streaming it because things weren't working properly for some reason.
You screwed up the technical side of it, didn't you, Matt? Yeah.
I did not. No. It may have been part of a larger outage. All sorts of people had problems.
That's what Jenny said as well.
And Jenny, she has some technical ability, unlike you.
Jenny said it. That's probably true then.
She has significant technical ability compared to me. Yes.
But
then my dog has technical
last week's
capability
episode was emotionally draining for at least one of our characters. And so, Tony, I turn to you, not because you're the one who always remembers what actually went on.
But you are, as it happens.
But you are suddenly thrust very much into the center of the emotional turmoil that was happening last time. You talk about that while I tell everybody that we are streaming. One day, people will have advanced knowledge of this, and then we just anyway, people will be waiting to watch us. But that doesn't really happen yet. Carry on, Tony.
So we followed the trail from the jungle back to Bay Basin. We got a lift down the river. We had information that the slaves that were being taken were being transported via a particular pier back in the conglomerate.
Pier 58.
So we got a lift down the river from Bay Basin to the conglomerate. As we approached, we saw that there was a big fire going on, and the closer we got, we realised this fire was on Pier 58, the pier we were heading for. There's a big warehouse next to the pier that had been burning down. We somewhat recklessly went inside this burning building and found.
Well, I went inside because the Lady of the Tears demanded it of me.
Still quite reckless, I think.
You just want that experience point, don't you? You're actually in the.
I'm working really hard for that.
Yeah, that's. Get a good early comment in just there.
I'm role playing for that experience point.
And we found a stasis pod with some bodies around it. Looked like there'd been a fight to try and get in the stasis pod, presumably in the hope that whoever got in the stasis pod would better survive the fire because they were not able to escape from it. But they're all dead anyway. And looking at one of the bodies on the floor and looking at the kind of jewelry they were wearing, I recognised that and suspected that one of these was in fact Nur, the daughter of the old friend that we've been searching for all this time, lying dead on the floor of this warehouse.
Though that isn't 100% confirmed yet.
No,
so we need to get that tested.
Absolutely, yes. So
there remains some hope, if not much.
No, I think I don't personally particularly feel much hope. I think I was obviously quite upset about that and quite traumatized. In my traumatized state, I had a vision of a voice singing a song or a prayer. I heard water flowing. The voice was saying a poem, which was, "The tunnels lead only forward, like an arrow leaping from its string. I steady myself for the journey's end, living still in death. All that was shall be again."
That was very well remembered, Tone.
I know, that's good, isn't it? Impressed how well I remember that. And I wasn't just reading it off the
off our Discord site.
The post on Discord at all. So kind of suspected it might be the emissary this poem coming from, who we're also still looking for, in theory. But I had that vision, and that was kind of the end of the last scenario. I think we had planned to go and take Nur's body, or suspected Nur's body, to my aunt, Majid Nassar, who lives in the area, who has contact or works in a...
She doesn't live in the area. You've gone somewhat closer to Covenant City to find your aunt and a place to live.
Basically, she's going to better help us do some sort of DNA test to confirm whether this body is in fact as I very strongly suspect it is.
Yeah, Ara Ara is the area that she lives in. I think
Oh
we
yes,
decided
yeah,
last time. Yeah. So your night, I think, is probably quite restless, but you do get to rest. So any hit points you've got, and I think your mind points are
Did they
wiped
recover
clean.
the same? Yeah. Your mind is wiped clean, Tone.
So are my mind points all wiped clean?
I believe
I think they are, yeah.
to be
Okay.
the case.
I think it's
That's
the
probably good
same
because
as
I was quite mentally traumatized, to be honest.
What is interesting, just cutting ahead, there are rules for this sort of stuff now in the new part 2 of Mercy of the Icons,
Yeah.
and I'm very pleased to say that they're pretty much what we did last week. So, in that you can protect yourself from this sort of mental damage with a roll on your empathy, which is what you try to do. None of the mental damage you get in Mercy of the Icons is quite as severe as the shock you got last time, but it happens a lot more often in Mercy of the Icons. So mind points will become important, I think, in the next chapter, without spoiling anything.
yeah.
So yeah, you wake after a restless night in your aunt's house. You want to describe where your aunt lives?
I think she's working in a kind of medical field in some way or another. I think she's reasonably, I think, what passes as middle class in this area. So I think it's got a reasonably nice area of the conglomerate, not too run down. I think she's got probably a couple of spare rooms in some sort of apartment block somewhere, but she can put us up reasonably comfortably, and I think she's reasonably comfortably off.
And what did you do with the body before?
Well, I was
sleeping at your house?
carrying it, so I presume we bring it to whichever room is most appropriate in Tony's aunt's house, and lay it in some kind of state and do rites over it and clean it up as best as possible. Ready it for its journey. Ready Nor for her journey with the Lady of Tears.
And so I am imagining a couple of sisters of the Order of Tears come from the local Chapel of Tears. I'm going to say of tears quite a lot in this sentence. In the morning, after a light breakfast that you have, there's a knock at the door, and they arrive and give a formal greeting, as is expected, to your aunt. She shows them into the front room where the charred body is covered in the cloth that you wrapped her in last week, laid out on what would otherwise be a low sort of table. And they busy themselves, tutting slightly at the slightly amateurish way that the body has been bound. They unwrap it and
I did my best. The Lady of Tears guided my hands.
A ceremonial wrapping again. And your aunt asks that a DNA sample be taken to try and help identify the body. And they agree to that. And they have, amazingly, equipment for taking a sample with them. And they take a sample, keep it, in a contamination-proof jar, and put that to one side, and then carry on with the ritual of binding and of cleaning. The body will be cremated, they say, without any sense of irony.
It already pretty much has been.
Yes. And
is that normal practice? Is that what would normally happen?
Yes, generally in the third horizon, they cremate bodies. Yes, people are cremated generally. so that the dark between the stars does not use that body for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
The only culture which you may not be aware of, but your character in our previous little campaign was aware
Is
of,
very familiar with.
is that it is said that the Nazarene sacrifice did not cremate their bodies, but they've been long gone now.
Yes, of course.
So your aunt asks on your behalf when the identification. I mean, it's not going to be an actual identification. What they're going to do is take samples. She's more closely related to your aunt, we decided last week, than to you, isn't she? She's a
Yes, that
friend of yours.
sounds plausible.
So there will be a probability, it'll say how likely it is that it's that this body is related to your aunt. It's not going to be able to say yes, it is Noor, and you can see in this bit of the DNA that she was last seen on Coriolis or anything like that. But it will, hopefully, it'll either say no, this is somebody totally different, or it is a relation of your aunt, and therefore probably the girl that you've been looking for the last 21 episodes. And waiting respectfully outside are a couple of porters and a grav car, and the wrapped body is taken outside, put on the grav car, and slides away down the quiet street, because it's still quite early in the morning, towards the House of Rest, which we won't say where that is, but you've been told where it is if it becomes important.
And will she be cremated kind of immediately? And this is kind of a funeral ceremony that we ought to attend.
Yeah, there can be a ceremony that you can attend.
Yeah. I'm assuming, Yakub, that you would wish to do that.
Very much so, yes.
I suggested it's timed for the most convenient time in the storytelling. So at some point when we feel we need a reflective break, then we shall cut to the ceremony.
Okay.
So, but right now, it's reasonably early in the morning and the day is yours. Do you wish to spend a day in prayer, as you probably should do after the death of a loved one? Or do you want to carry on with your investigation?
Well, I probably feel I should spend a day in prayer, but I want to find the bastards responsible for this. So I don't want whatever trail we may have to go cold.
No,
So
I mean, Noor was Yakub's friend, so I'll go with whatever Yakub wants.
No, I think we should crack on. I'm not sure what lead we've now got.
Well, you've still got, so the lead you were following to the warehouse on Pier 58 was the invoice you had from
Tubra Gulam for Naomi Hassam.
Yes.
Yeah, we also have an address.
Had two addresses on it.
Yeah, we do have an address for Hassam as well. Pani Square in Souk Hamra.
The Souk Hamra, yeah.
And is that in the conglomerate?
No, that's again out in Little Algol, I think.
Oh, right.
Let me just tell you a little bit about. The Souk Hamra is a river market. So again, it's pontoons and jetties, and occasionally boats and things like that. So it is back kind of the way you came in Little Algol.
Well, should we get there for the early trading then, and see or get in there before it gets too busy?
Yep, let's.
Did we have another address, or was that Pier 58?
Another address.
So there were 2 addresses on the.
Pier 58 was one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny Square in Sucabra was the other one.
That's the other one. Okay. And that's where we should be able to find Hassam.
That's where. Yes. That's the address said was addressed to Tubra Gutan for Niobe Hassam.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick up some pictures that I forgot to prepare. Give me a little moment.
We have no idea what these people look like, do we?
I don't think so.
No.
The only time we've seen their names is basically the only reason we know about them is just seeing their names on that invoice. So,
But isn't Niobe Hassam like a proprietor of this company? Could you do some data gin stuff and see if we can dig up a news article?
Picture, yeah.
Or,
that's not a bad
something,
idea.
just a
Yeah, that's
picture.
not a bad idea.
Okay.
Just
So
or
do you
some
want to do some?
or some promotional material or something that might be out there.
Do you want to do some data ginning then?
Yes. So we're going to basically look for Niobe Hassam and Tubra Gutan.
Okay. Make a roll. Oh, I might need some dice as well. Swap out those percentiles.
Just like darkness points, you don't need any of those either, Matt.
No. Okay, I get 2 successes on that.
Two successes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good solid success on Niobe Hassam. And let me tell you a little bit about her and see if I've got a picture of her.
Well, that's a start. We know, at least we know it's a woman.
No, I haven't got a picture of her, but the image you see is of a short woman dressed in surprisingly simple clothes for a businesswoman of her standing. A black camise with floral patterns and a yellow shawl. You will note that she has 2 lines of a blue facial tattoo running from forehead to cheek. And you see the article you found is simply one from local news, which talks about her taking over her father's business. Sorry, her uncle's business. The previous owner of Hassam was Maksu. But when he died, she took over as his heir.
Was that recent?
Let me just remind myself how recent that was. Not particularly recent. Nothing suddenly changing in the last few weeks or anything.
So according to this story, then, what is the nature of Hassam's business? Presumably, it doesn't say they're slave runners.
No, it's import, export, and transportation.
Nice and vague.
Yes, and the tattoo, these blue 2 lines tattoo on her face, is that something we recognise? Does that signify anything that we would know about?
I don't think your success was good enough on that.
Well, can I have a culture roll to see if I recognize
Okay,
it?
make a culture roll.
So it's not a lot of dice, but it's more than none.
Can I help?
Well, I get 2 6s and 4 dice.
Excellent.
Matthew, 2 successes.
Okay, I heard that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for, I'm sure I have seen a little bit about the significance of what that means, but I can't find it. I might have to, give me a moment. I might have to look it up on the electronic file.
Okay.
Curses. Now I'm looking it up on the wrong file because I am
An idiot. What are we going to do, Tone, when we find Hassan? Then are we going to threaten her like we've done just about everybody else?
Well,
right.
that's very much what my mood is. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
threaten them violently.
Fair enough.
And I guess we should still try and find the emissary and stuff. But if you should accidentally, kill them in the process, then
What, the emissary?
no, be
Evil
Hassan.
people. Yeah. Well, we need to find the ultimate culprit.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure.
So we only want to kill Hassan at the point where her usefulness is expired, as it were. So
I'm sure I've seen a description of Niobe Hassam more than what she's wearing. How
much money have you got at the moment, Tom?
I've got 2040 written on my account sheet.
2040.
2040.
Okay. So I've got 12,100.
Nice.
I don't remember where I got it from, but
I'm sorry, I can't tell you what that means. I'm going to make something up.
Okay.
I'm sure I've read something, but she may have been. Generally, facial tattoos are either members of the Zenithian hegemony or servants of those members. And the fact that this is in blue and not gold suggests that she was previously a servant in a Zenithian hegemonist's house.
okay.
But as I've made that up, don't read too much into that being a clue.
Yeah, let's just make a note of it and make it the keystone of our investigation from now on.
Right, we're going to have to change the whole campaign now.
So she's a Zenithian servant. What can that possibly mean? What Zenithians are there that we can go and ask about the importance
you do know a couple of Zenithians, particularly people who may be able to give you information. They are, of course, your patron for this this particular mission, the Judge Kurahan and the Akuba Kosha, the Judicator.
Yes, kind of forgot about them. Yeah.
Well, it feels a long time since we saw them, isn't it?
Yeah. Should we possibly kind of check in with them at some point?
Suppose we could.
When we've got more to report, because we've got quite a lot to report, haven't we, I guess.
Well, I should say of Tubra Gutan, you haven't particularly found anything on your search.
Okay. At least we know what Niobe looks like, anyway.
Yes.
We've got a good idea what she looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure you can make a printout if you want to show it around markets or anything like that.
Not sure we need to do that. If she's got an office here,
Okay.
Yeah.
then why would we just draw attention to ourselves?
Okay, so you heading
I
there?
am the hero of Pier 58. I went in and rescued the... No, I'm not doing that. Anybody need a private investigator? I'll start giving out my card again.
Well,
Right, anyway.
I've got no more leads on this thing, so I'll just tap around for a new job.
So, if you wanted to spend 5 of those darkness points, Matt, you can have me run out of business cards.
Nightmare.
I'm enjoying you handing out business cards. At some point, when it is vital you give somebody a business card, then I will spend my darkness point.
Fair enough. Right, shall we head off then, Tone?
Head for the
Yeah.
Sukhabra.
Okay. So you are going on foot, I imagine, or are you taking some sort of
Wasn't that far, was it? We could walk it.
We
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
bring the hover bike thing, did we?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think we loaded that on the ship for later.
Yeah.
When we go and collect it.
So you go from quite a pleasant area of town, as you've said, across a park, effectively, which is not a manicured park. It's more a bit of nature, but kind of kept as a recreational space, towards Little Algol, which is very much on the riverside. And you'll notice a real change in the mood, which you probably noticed. I'm sure I told you about it last time, but there are kind of soldiers, policemen type, not guardsmen or adjudicators, but kind of pay cops, as it were, patrolling the park. And you get a real sort of sense that Little Algol is, as you get into that, is kind of a quarantined area, as it were, where people aren't allowed necessarily to move freely back and forth. You haven't been stopped, but you've definitely felt there have been eyes on you as you've gone through. And you feel if you had been coming in the other direction, and if you hadn't been coming with a bit of a funeral procession last time, you might have been stopped on the way out. Definitely a slight feeling of threat. And, you know, there are stories about Little Algol being a bit of a hive of scum and villainy, but you also feel a little bit threatened by these sort of pay cops that you see. So they look like they're spoiling for a fight, a lot of them.
Yes. So these paid cops, guys, are they giving people a hard time?
Well, not right now. But you kind of feel that they're ready to pounce. That, you know, if you
do we have a sense of how long this has been going on? Is it just a kind of reaction to the burning,
the fire? No, you
the
think
fire, or is this just kind of more of an ongoing thing
you
that's been
feel
happening
it's
for
a
a
more
while?
ongoing thing? You know, I mean, you were involved in a you were involved in a bit of a civil war in the last adventure out by Bay Basin.
Yeah, we shouldn't
And
forget
you
that,
think
considering-
this is going on as long as that is like
So presumably news of that would have reached the conglomerate.
oh yeah,
the events there?
absolutely. You know, even if it traveled at the slowest rate, that is the same boat that you went in on, it has now reached the conglomerate, and you imagine it traveled faster than that.
So is this a reaction to a concern that the rebels are going to be coming this way then?
Or you were given contact details of, or not contact details, but a name to ask for here of somebody who is an ally of the rebels, whose name I've now forgotten.
Ijala Baku.
Baku, yeah.
Ijala Baku. Yeah, so
And-
she's who we need to contact to get passage back to Bay Basin when we're done to go and pick the ship up again.
Yeah, so maybe it is that Little Algol is a bit of a, you know, a known place where insurgents hang out.
And does she live in Little Algol?
Yeah, you weren't. They didn't tell you to go and find her anywhere else.
Right. Okay. Okay. I suggest we just ignore these guys and.
Yeah, they're letting you pass. They're not threatening you at the moment.
Look sufficiently
And
badass.
you're heading down to the waterside to find the Sukhabra.
Yep.
And
presumably we could have had a look at a map and Because it's somewhere
Yes.
called Panny Square, so we could have had like a map and actually have a vague idea of where we're going rather than wandering around aimlessly
yeah.
for it.
You can. The Sucabra is quite a maze, but for your success of of the search on Nyobi Hassan, it's quite easy to wend your way through it. You'll notice that there are lots of stevedores working here. It's quite busy already now, unlike the civilized streets that you came out of, where it was quite a quiet morning. People get up with the sun here and start work. There's all sorts of smells of food being cooked and salty, that salty ozony smell that you get by the water. Also a smell of everything that gets drained into the water as well. You notice on your way there's proxy sellers. I don't know whether any of you have had much experience with proxy.
No.
So they are places where you can experience somebody's recorded memories.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
And they're kind of
Illegal.
illegal in lots of places. And so places like this where, it's a place where you can come and experience this. But you find your way in the end to I can't find the entry.
Quick question about those paid cop guys. Are they
Mhm.
walking about openly armed? And heavily
Yeah,
armed?
they're definitely sort of exerting their
are-
presence.
And are
through,
others openly armed as well?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah, these guys are enforcing law and order by their presence, by flooding the streets. In fact, given that you've got your eye on them, you can see at some point just before you get to the square, you can see a sudden flood, two ends of a street. There are three of these guys suddenly come around the corner from one side and two from another side, and grab a group of people who to you had been having a perfectly innocent conversation, and suddenly they slam them up against the wall of the building there and pat them down roughly. One of them argues and they cuff one of them to the floor. So you definitely feel that they're exerting their force as you watch.
They're basically just a bunch of thugs.
Yeah. You hear their name mentioned, which is a name you might have heard before, Nestira. Ring any bells?
Nestira, I'm not sure it does. Does it?
The
So
militia.
who do we hear this name from?
Just when it goes on, you hear somebody going, bloody Nestira.
Oh.
But the militia in Bay Basin were effectively employed by the Nestira, but these guys are a lot smarter, a lot better armed. They are probably not local like the militia were in Bay Basin, but the militia in Bay Basin were the Nestira militia.
So Nestira is an organisation, basically like a dodgy criminal.
Not dodgy, a law enforcement organisation.
Dodgy criminal.
Associated not so much with the syndicate, but with the consortium. Anyway, at that point, you arrive at the square, assuming you're not getting involved in.
No, not sure why we've got any reason to get involved.
No, I think that's probably best not at this stage.
Pani Plaza is crammed full of stalls and crowds of people. There's there's it's hard to tell the difference between the boardwalks and the pontoons and boats that have been kind of permanently jammed together and decked over to make wider spaces. And there appears to be a kind of solid built brewery on a pontoon of a number of boats which have had a building built on top of them as well. And you'll notice that's called the Kaltash Amin Brewery. And around that, there's tables and chairs set out, and you can see a number of merchants and a number of hands sitting down around low tables, sharing wine, drinking ale, and smoking from hookahs. Over the top of that, those chairs and tables, there's kind of sailcloth shades put up on poles. There's a whole bunch of sacks of spices that have been unloaded from somewhere, stacked up. Apparently nobody looking after them. There's a lamsha stall out of which there's all sorts of flowery scented smells which kind of cover the underlying smell of shit that wafts up from the river itself. And between next door to that that brewery is on, I think you think the pier, a small anonymous looking shack, but it's got the Hassam sign above the door.
Is it quite busy around here?
There's a lot of activity over. It's busy everywhere, but particularly sort of next door is this all these people drinking outside the Kultash Hamim's brewery and winery.
And is Ham's place open? Is there trade going on?
The Hassam place.
Yeah.
As you look at it, there's somebody sort of sat outside the door to the office, but they actually look like a gypsy fortune teller or something like that.
You say this is like a shack, this Sam place, is it? How big is it? Is it just like a one-room little shack, or is it a bigger building than that?
Probably a bit bigger than one room.
Doesn't look like a big international ongoing affair.
No, it's a couple of rooms, maybe a loft space as well. But it's not a big place.
And is this the only building around that we can see that has the Hassam logo on it?
Yeah, it's also got a painted door. So this soothsayer gets up and hobbles off. And you'll notice the door that she was kind of sat on the stoop of is a metal door, but it's been covered with a multicolored mosaic of semi-precious stones and tiles, which shows the sign of the messenger. And in that as well, there's the Hassam pyramid logo.
Can we get around the back and have a look around all the sides of this place?
Not with ease, because on the other side of this is the lamsha stall, so it's kind of wedged between two buildings.
Right. Okay.
You could probably find your way around to the back of it if you wanted.
Right. But it's kind of backing onto another stall on the other side.
Well, you can't tell from where you are here.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, should we? What's the approach here, Yakub? Do we just bash the door in and?
Well, that's very much what I'm in the mood to do, but it might not necessarily be the most effective approach. I'm not in the mood for subtlety at this point.
And was it their warehouse that was burned down? On Pier
Sorry, what
58?
is their warehouse that was
No,
burned?
was it? Was it?
It
their
was
warehouse?
there, yeah.
Hassan
That had a
warehouse,
Hassan
yeah.
sign on the door as
It
well.
was there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we go in as private investigators who've been asked by an unnamed client that we're not going to reveal to investigate the arson attack at the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you walk in. The door is unlocked first of all, and easy to open. There's no kind of window in it, and you can push it open onto what looks like quite a narrow corridor with an office at one end, but the door doesn't fully open because there's a body on the floor.
A body
On the floor.
as in a dead body.
A dead body lying on the
Okay.
floor
On
a bloody Algolan rug.
Okay, I'm gonna pull back my poncho and pull out my carbine.
Okay.
So in this corridor we're in, what other doors off it? Open, closed?
There's another
What's
door.
the,
Yeah, there's a door into a side room, but it looks like the office is further down the corridor.
Can I hear anything? Any movement? Any noise?
No.
have a look at the body, see if we can see any other signs of how it died, how long ago it looked like it happened.
Not
the-
long ago.
Whilst
you
the cube's
suggest.
doing that, I'm overwatching down the corridor. If anyone comes out aggressively, I'm shooting them.
Okay. Nobody does. It feels quite quiet. You smell the iron smell that says this blood in the carpet is recently spilled.
Is it a bullet
As
wound?
you
Knife
investigate
wound?
Yakub, I think there's still some warmth in the body. It's not long killed.
Okay, can I sneak down the corridor to where the next? So were there doors on the sides of this corridor as well, or was it just a door at the end?
So it sort of opens out into an open office. So there's a door
Okay.
onto the side, into a sort of storeroom. But the office is at the back of the building, effectively.
All right, I'm going to try and sneak up to get a view into that office.
I'm going to, meanwhile, shut the door behind us where we came in.
Okay.
Just going to get a surprise from that side.
As you sneak down, pointing your gun
I've drawn my gun as well, my Vulcan
Okay.
carbine.
carefully, you sneak down. Do you look into the door to the side here first, or do you go straight to the office?
Now I'll have a quick look and make sure there isn't somebody there about to hit me with something.
Okay. Opening the door,
It's just not another trap.
there's just a bunch of crates and boxes. It's an empty store. Well, it's a storeroom, but it has no people in it.
Unless they're in the boxes. Are these boxes big enough to take people?
No, kind of more like stationary boxes and things like that.
Right,
I
okay.
think, for the most part.
Okay, let's sneak on down to the
Okay.
office and
There's
yeah,
another
keep-
body.
Okay.
The body that I'm looking at, what kind of person is it like? Does it look like somebody who was engaged in combat, or do they look like some sort of office worker? Or
They look like a
yeah, are there signs of a scuffle? Yeah.
they're dressed as a kind of I'd call them a retired stevedore. There's something about his build is quite big, but he's also I mean, you probably recognize it from some of the changes his body's gone through. He's a eunuch. I'm not saying you've investigated under his camise.
First thing that
but he's
Yakub does is
got
have a
that
quick
sort
look.
Slightly plumper build
eunuch?
of a eunuch.
Yakub,
but
I
also
thought you
somebody who's
stopped doing that.
So soft arms, but rough hands of a stevedore.
Okay.
The body in your room is lying on her face. Again, bloody. She's wearing a black camise, but the yellow flowers on it are stained with blood. She's face down.
This looks like
Her hands.
Niobe's.
Yeah,
clothing, doesn't
yeah. You might imagine that it's Niobe.
And cause of death. Like a
From
bullet
the amount of
wound, or
blood, you think they've been stabbed.
are there any footprints in the blood leading off anywhere? Any?
No, it seems to have been stabbed by somebody who knows what they're doing.
And again, her body is fresh.
Same sort of time, not long ago, not long before you came in.
So can we check? Just a quick push over to check her face to see if she's got the
That it is her.
facial tattoo that we saw in the story.
Are you going to do that, Dave? Or should I say Ocean?
I'm going to walk up to the second body.
I'll keep him open. I'll kick her. I'll use my boot to roll her over, put it against her
Okay.
shoulder, and roll her over whilst I'm looking around the room, maintaining vigilance.
Okay. You roll her over. Yes, it's her. Yes, those tattoos are there. But you also notice when you roll her over that in her hands, there's a communicator device.
Is it open? Is it on? Is there a channel?
It's not on, but its screen does display a message sent this morning from Tubra.
Okay.
And it says, meet me at the Hammam Tamina baths. And there's also actually, you can see that she'd obviously just replied saying that she was still waiting for payment from Dol Kassar, but she would come as soon as he'd arrived.
Dol Kassar.
Dol Kassar.
Yeah, DOL lowercase hyphen QUASSAR, capital Q.
Have we heard that before? Is that familiar?
I might have to get you to start making cleverness rolls or something.
Well, if we played for more than 90 minutes every 2 weeks, it might be a bit easier.
Well, you should play every week rather than go off and
Go on holiday, yeah.
go on a holiday in the woods in a hot tub. Yeah, not that you travel to the woods in a hot tub.
Well,
Shall I remind you that the invoice was to Q?
okay, yeah. So Q was paying Hassam for the delivery of the slaves.
Yes.
Did it look like was this communicator quite well hidden?
No, I think it was simply that she was surprised in the act of typing that message.
I'm wondering whether her assassin would have seen the message as well, and whether Tubra is
Likely to be.
likely
Does-
to be
did
next
the-
on the list.
Did the message say a time for them to meet?
Well, from the way it's worded, it looked like she was saying, come to the baths, and the other one was saying,
Oh, I'll be there as
No.
soon as I've.
"I'll be there as soon as
As soon as I've got
Kassar's money's
paid."
come through."
Can we have a quick look out the back? Is there a back way out of this?
No, there isn't. There's another business behind it.
So there's no way out except the door that we came in.
Yeah.
And you said there's a roof space?
Yeah, you check that. It is just storage space. There's a bed roll for long nights or early mornings or something,
But nobody there.
but nobody up there. No.
And are we talking minutes? Did this happen before we arrived? Or are we talking like an hour?
I think you're going to need to make a roll on that one. What
Okay,
skill have either of you got that will do that?
Have you got Medicurgy, Tone?
I have a little bit of Medicurgy.
Well, I have none, so
That would probably be the best roll to estimate time.
Okay. I shall have a Medicurgy roll then. I get 1 success.
You think minutes?
okay, I'm going back out to the front. Can I still see that gypsy?
No.
Were they sitting out the front when we arrived?
They appear to be sitting
on the step?
sort of on the doorstep, as it were, on the stoop. Kind of sitting on the, like they might be begging or something like that when you first saw them, but they got up and moved away when you were walking.
Okay, so basically they've gone. So
Yeah,
we could try and chase down the gypsy.
Yes.
They might have seen something.
Yeah, if they're not involved, they
Or
might have seen something. Or we
do
could
we
head
wanna-
for.
Do we want to search this place for any other clues?
We should probably search the place fairly quickly, or do you want to go to Hammam Tamina and meet Tubra, or find out that he's been killed because the murders got there first?
Well, we do. Okay, we do have another clue that's Dol Kassar, obviously. Okay, I'm going to take her communicator, Matt.
Okay.
As evidence. And let's go to the hammam and try and help Tubra.
Right. Now, this is our hammam, Dave.
Okay. I
This
know
is
it
the
really well
hammam.
then. This is it. I'm in it. I'm sat
just
in
for
it.
watchers here. Ricard, who wrote this, asked for permission to have a hammam in the adventure, and this is the hammam. It's not exactly the same as our hammam, but that is where the influence comes from. I just want to really press this home to our viewers. This was my idea. Okay, where is the hammam though? I can't remember where it is. So you're at the Souk Habra.
Yep.
And you think, well, you don't know exactly where it is. You're going to have to ask.
The Hammam Tamina.
Yeah.
Let's go a little way away from Hassan's first.
Yes, no, that's sensible.
And then just ask a vendor somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see whether vendors know. Yeah, they can point you to Hassam Tamina, and it's right on the northern edge of Souk Habra, kind of back the way you came. Should I show you our map again?
Yes.
Let's do that thing. Let me just find it. Where's it gone? I won't show you the map again. I can't find it now. Oh, there it is. And share screen. So this is it. I will make that full screen for you. So you are down here, effectively. This is where the Souk Habra is. And right on the northern edge of it, as it were, quite close to the part where you walked in,
Yeah.
is where you're told you will find the Hammam Tamina. I think we mentioned last week that originally Little Algol used to be the posh part of town years ago when the Zenithians first arrived. And there's lots of bits of Zenithian architecture, built architecture. But while they were investigating the monolith, which at the initial time was, people were steering a bit clear of because they didn't know exactly what it was. But as, eventually all the posh people went to Covenant City, and then, they're now living in the monolith. But, and so this kind of was partly reclaimed by the jungle, but has now become a thriving area. And Hammam Tamina, as you approach it, is in one of those proper stone-built buildings on the land, as supposed to be on the pontoons and stuff that you've been walking over. So that's where it is.
I think we want to try and get there double time, really. Maybe not running, but walking as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my eyes. I'm going to keep my eyes open for that gypsy. And is this in the same direction as the gypsy walked off?
Hard to say. You
Okay.
didn't really take any note of her when she walked. She just got up and left your field of vision, effectively.
Right. Okay.
But yes. So keeping your eye out for her as you go, you don't see her.
Okay.
And then you're confronted by this building, which has all the hallmarks of a bathhouse. An elegant entrance, nicely kept, not quite as smelly as some of the other places you've been to. Definitely posher than Hassam's shack. It's got a domed roof that you can see from the outside. Potted trees and palms on the outside, making a sort of threshold.
Okay. Now, we don't know what this guy looks like, do we?
No.
You only have a name.
I suspect that he'll be the one lying face down in the pool of blood.
It's possible. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go in, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, and you are met by Tamina herself, and she welcomes you as though she's known you for ages. She says, "Oh, my old friends, welcome to Tamina's Hammam. What do you seek today? A massage or just a bath?"
Actually, we're looking for a friend of ours who we think's here.
I have many
we have-
regular customers, she says, and you will be regular customers too once you have sampled the delights of the
indeed,
Hammam.
maybe will, but we have some news for a friend which he will want to hear urgently. Tuba Gutan is his name.
His name is Tuba Gutan.
Tuba Gutan.
And how long have you known him?
Well, we're more friends of a friend of his.
Well, and you have a message for him, did you say?
We have some news that he will.
And she picks up some papers, walks to a sort of reception desk that she's got, and picks up a list and says, "I'm afraid I must disappoint you. for he has not visited today to Gutan, and he has not visited for some time.
But you do know him. He does frequent your establishment.
I know most of the people of Little Algol. I'm sure I have met Tuba Gutan. I cannot right now put a name to a face, but were I to see his face, then I would remember him, I'm sure. And I would say, Tuba, welcome back to Hamima's.
Is she
Hammer.
genuine? Can I have an observation roll to see if she's genuine or not?
Yes, you can.
I could judge her character if we think this is important enough. With the darkness point.
Well, let me try. Let me try. Do I? Can I just?
Do you spend a darkness point on the reroll, or do you?
Yeah, exactly. Because I got no successes.
So while Ocean is talking to him, I shall just be carefully
go on,
studying her body language and her inflections,
And giving
if she's
me
telling the truth, and giving you a darkness point.
Okay. She is obviously protecting somebody.
And is Yakub? Are you telling me this? Because I don't know, obviously, because I think she's telling the truth as far as I can tell.
Yeah, she's definitely telling the truth. Absolutely.
I'm going to say to her, look, Tamima, whoever you're protecting, we fear Tuba's life may be in imminent danger unless we can get to him first.
If he walks in, I shall give him that message.
Okay,
I suggest if you are honestly they're here to save his life, then you would get to know him better.
Is there obvious? There are doors through into other parts of the hammam, yeah.
Oh yes, there are. Yeah.
So I want to walk into. I'm just going to go into the whatever the first one is, the tablinarium or whatever, where people are relaxing before they have their massages.
Well, generally they don't relax. They get undressed and wash. But you walk into the first area, and the first thing you see, like many hammams that you've been in or have seen created, you walk first of all into an atrium, and this one is a little bit different from other hammams you may have known in that the domed roof above it has holes cut in it like stars. And do you want to make a culture roll?
I can certainly try. Yeah, I get 2 successes again.
Oh, excellent. You recognize this as pictures you've seen showing the symbolic constellations above Icon City in Mirror, on the planet Mirror, and it reflects those stars. And of course, the light shining through those little holes dapples a statue of a beautiful deckhand, a small child with short hair, hunched over a stone bowl with a rag in its hand, as if it's about to polish the surface of the water. Both the statue and the walls of the atrium are covered in lush green vines.
Is there anybody in here?
Not well. There are people, but this is generally an area that you walk through into the changing area to take your clothes off, and effectively, what she does, having gone there, she comes after you with a pile of towels, and on top of the pile of towels, a copper bowl and a bar of soap, and she offers them to you and says, "My rates are very reasonable, and this is the best hammam you will find."
I'm not interested in that at all. Are there any men in here? Are we assuming that Tuba is male? Tone.
I was assuming that, but that is an assumption I've incorrectly made before. So I don't think it's a safe assumption necessarily.
Go beyond here. There's the changing rooms, and there's the bathing area. Then there's the tepidarium, then there's the steam rooms and the tepidarium. I can't remember
Okay.
what way around it goes.
So so she's behind me holding all this stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got my carbine is under my poncho. I've got my left hand on it, my right hand on it. My left hand, I'm gonna knock all of that away, push her against the wall, and say, "My friend died yesterday. Tuba's friend died today. Tell me where the fuck Tuba is now."
She stabs you.
Okay.
I think she will. Yeah. And I haven't got stats for her, but I think that will be her response. So I'm gonna. I've got stats for my person. No, let me just do some random stats out of the book. Give me a
This is
moment.
going right. I can't kill Samar, can I?
No, but you're not killing Samar. Maybe she
I
can
know.
take this place over once you've killed her.
Yeah. Or maybe Samar will gut me like a fish.
Okay, so I am going to go with her, I think. She's stronger than she looks.
Can I try and block this?
No, I think you were focusing on holding her up by her neck.
Okay.
So I think this might be a stab. She gets a success. So you feel
I've got armor.
blade.
So
oh, okay.
how much damage is that? One.
Is that one for a dagger?
I don't know. I
Hold
don't
on.
have a dagger.
And it's just an ordinary dagger, I think.
Probably one then, I suspect.
Knife, 2 damage.
2.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mitigate one of that. So I take 1 point of damage.
Okay, so you feel the knife slide into you.
You feel a bit of a prick.
And she says very coldly, "You are not welcome in this bathhouse. I have friends."
I'm gonna butt her with the end of my rifle.
You're going to, holding her in that hand, you're whacking her with the rifle.
No, when I'm gonna let go of her, and because
Okay.
I've got one hand on my rifle already, I'm gonna just take it up and butt her with it in the head.
Okay. You want to make a roll on that one?
Yep. Let me look. What have I got?
Oh, shall we roll initiative?
It's not a lot of dice, mind, but okay, yeah. 4 for me.
Is D6 for initiative in this?
Yeah.
I get 2. And is higher, is lower better or is higher better?
Higher is better.
Okay.
Okay. What do we got?
4 for me.
2 for me.
Okay. So she goes first, actually, and says, and screams, "We're being attacked! Get help!" And that's her action.
Okay. I'm gonna hit her with the rifle butt.
Okay.
Well, hopefully.
She will try and block you, but go ahead.
Okay, that's 1 success so far. Do I want to bother pushing it? No, I won't. I'm trying to push her away from me so she can't stab me again. Is what I'm trying to do with this blow.
Okay.
And I got 1 success.
She blocks you.
Okay.
And so she holds her arms crossed like that and takes the blow that way.
Okay, my second action, I'm saying, if you're a friend of Tubra's, you are condemning him to death.
She points the knife at you, not to.
What did she get? What's her initiative?
She went ahead of me.
So it's not her action, then, it's my action then. Isn't it?
No, she's. Oh, well, okay, yep, okay.
So
What's your action?
I'm following past behind Ocean, and I'm basically walking past, and I'm shouting, I'm calling out, Tubra Gutan, Naomi Hassam is not coming to meet you. She's been murdered. Very likely her murderers are coming after you next. If you want to live, come out now.
Okay, you're going straight past her. There's no reply.
Okay, it's her action then, I guess.
It's her action. She points a knife at you and says, "You will not find this man here, and I will look after Tubra. These gentlemen," and she eyes indicates there's somebody standing behind you, "will see you out." And a number of stevedores have come into the into the hammam.
Okay, well, it's fine. Just let him die then. Last time I'm going to do a good deed, and I'm walking out.
Okay, they give you just enough space that you have to knock into their shoulders as you walk past the stevedores. What do you do, Tony?
I'm looking them deeply in the eye as I go past. I'm not intimidated by them.
Neither are they intimidated by you.
No, fair enough.
There are 5 of them.
Just you wait till I get a chance to go full auto, guys, because I've got... I'm not saying that, by the way.
What are you doing, Tony?
Well, I'll
You've
follow
gone
him.
through into the wash area.
Yeah. But if I had no response to what I've said, I'll probably go, "Oh, so be it. If you want to die, that's your choice." And then
Are you going further round, or are you coming back the way you've come?
I think I'm coming back the way. So if I can see that Ocean is leaving, I'll probably head after him.
Okay.
Okay, as soon as I'm outside, Matt, and they're not kind of like on top of me, I'm going to take out Hassam's device and I'm going to send a message to Tubra on it saying, "We were just in the hammam trying to save you. Hassam has been murdered. We are here to protect you."
You get no reply yet.
Okay. Okay. Should we burn the place down, Tone?
I think that's the appropriate response.
Yeah, oh, that went well. Well, actually, that really was just a bit of a side issue because we want to go and find Dol Kassar anyway, don't we now?
Yes, although we don't necessarily have any clue about where we're going to find this person.
We could do.
I guess we could go and do another look up. If they're a well-known business person around the place, then
a well-known business person.
Dol Kassar.
Dol Kassar, yeah.
What in terms of find a? Have you got a tabula or something?
Yes, I've got a tabula.
So you could do a Google search on that. You mean?
Yes. I could do a data gin investigation. I think you'll find it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the skill Google search.
No, nor have I.
Have I got an old character sheet or something?
Okay. I'm reading the wrong book. I won't be in there. Right. Make your roll.
I get 2 successes.
There are references to a Liod Dol Kassar.
Leod.
Yeah, who is a Dabaran nobleman and based in the Dignitary City.
The Dignitary City,
Where's that?
That's the lower half of
the monolith.
the monolith. I think. Let me just check that.
So the monolith, then, obviously the...
Oh, no,
upper-
sorry, the Dignitary City is the old name for Little Algol.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
So,
it's
he's,
not...
he's here somewhere then.
So that was that what it was called when it was the nice part of town?
Yeah.
So does that imply that he still lives in Little Algol? Or used to? Used
That
to when it was...
may be the case.
A Dabaran nobleman living in this shithole.
fallen on hard times.
Do we have any idea what he looks like? Do we
Or
get a picture?
whereabouts he might live?
You can get an image of him. He's thin and somewhat weary looking, dressed in expensive silk clothing with Zenithian face paint. That you've seen
What colour is a Zenithia's face paint for him?
gold.
Not blue then.
You've seen similar face paint on the chap you spoke to some time ago, the Zenithian ambassador. What's his name?
Upon Coriolis.
Paul Coriolis, yeah. Give me a moment. Johar Kassar.
Can we get any sense of how noble he is?
How many successes did you roll,
2.
Tony?
2.
Tony? No, not much more than that.
But he's either, like you say, no longer, as prominent as he once was, or he's slumming it for some reason.
Well, yeah, I could have just fallen on financial hard times and just do a bit of honest slave trading to try and make a bit of a living.
You make it sound like something that we should start doing. Now you mention it.
Oh, actually, I guess for 2 successes, I will say this. He's in the gossip columns a bit. He's not directly in the gossip columns, but apparently his son is marrying the 5th daughter of Adon Din Khrama.
And who is they? Who are they?
The Adon Din Khrama is Somebody quite important based
Is
in
he
the monolith.
is he an orc?
No, not Crocker. Kramer.
So his son is marrying the fifth daughter of Aiden Dimraba. And who's he? Is he an important person then, presumably?
Yeah, that goes into the monolith, the Kramer family.
So if Dolcasars has fallen on hard times, getting his son married into the Khama family would be quite a big step towards regaining their status, possibly.
You might, yes, you might confidently suggest that that is what is happening.
So he's a Dabaran Zenithian noble. What motivation has he got for kidnapping the emissary? Don't know, I feel like
Well,
it's
as Tony
chasing-
said, he may be doing a bit of honest slave trading.
Mm.
Yeah, but I guess slave trading, you generally want to stay under the radar and trade in nobodies that no one's going to miss.
Well, it's called Little
can't be
Algol now because this has a reputation for being a sort of Algolian enclave. Algolians do a lot of slave trading.
Slave trading, yeah.
So if he's based here, he may took that business over from them.
Well, again, my point was if you're slave trading, you don't particularly want to take high-profile people like the emissary. That's just going to attract a huge amount of attention to your operation, isn't it? So there must be another reason for that.
Well, he might not know he was transporting the emissary, I guess, in the same way he might not know he was transporting mystics.
No, that's possibly true.
So again, the question is, who is he working?
Yeah, exactly. So in which case, there's somebody else would then be behind the kind of the thing with the mystics.
I guess we need to find out where, track him down, and then I guess it's the only lead we've got.
Okay, so what are we doing for time? Do we stop now and you think about how you're doing that before next week, or do we want to do a little bit of that?
Well, from my investigations on Google,
On the
Did we-
bulletin, shall we say?
yeah. Did we get any clue of where he lives or where his business operation is based?
There is a palace here. One of the other old buildings from when this was known as Dignitary City, which this indicates that's his address.
Like a palace. It's just like a very big, like the grandest building in Little Algol, then, is it?
Well, it's probably not the grandest building in Little Algol, but it's the most well kept of the grander buildings of Little Algol. If you work, having found the address and you go and scope it out.
Yeah, okay. And what's his business, does it say?
What say?
What does he do? Our research. Does our research tell us what his business
He's a
is?
nobleman. Noblemen don't do business.
So he's not in business. No, fair enough.
What did research tell us about his son? Is he in business? Does he
He's about to be married. All the
Mm.
news is that he is being married to the fifth daughter of Aden Din Khamar.
And when's the wedding?
Not far away, you get the impression.
And that will presumably be held in the monolith.
Well, if you've gone to check out the palace and you've seen all the work going on, there's like an army of gardeners clipping roses, planting
Okay.
new plants. You've got half a suspicion that it's possibly happening here.
Okay.
So do we try and kidnap his son then, and then send body parts back one by one until Don Cassar tells us what we want to know?
Yeah, because I just kind of, how are we even going to get to the point where we can have a conversation with him that he then doesn't just deny murdering Hassam and his role in the thing. I don't see how we get to him, because he's going to have thousands of guards around him.
Plus, like you say, if you go and talk to him, he'll obviously just deny everything.
So I don't really see what our
So
next
it's
move is.
all we've got as evidence is an invoice with the fact that somebody who's with initial Q is paying for it. That's not exactly compelling evidence of his involvement, is it really?
I guess the other thing might be, it may not have been him who killed Hassam and set the thing on fire. So maybe whoever is behind all of this is destroying the chain of evidence back to them. And actually Dol Kassar might be the next on the target list.
So all you need to do is burst into the palace, stick the nearest servant up against the wall, put a gun in their face and say, I'm trying to save Dol Kassar's life.
Get stabbed. Yeah.
And that will work.
So it might not take exactly the same approach as last time.
No, obviously, we might have to refine the plan somewhat.
Plan? Might actually
You get a message on your tablet while you're, I guess, in some cantina, taking a drink and discussing your plans. And it confirms that it's 98% likely that the body that you recovered was Noor.
Well, I think I knew that already in my heart. We haven't had a message on Niobe Hassam's tabula from Tubra then yet.
No.
Is there? I'm going to look through the contacts list on that. Is there a contact number for Q or Dol Kassar?
Yeah, that's probably worth. Can I do some data gen to try and extract any information we can find about the business operations from that tabula, or that communicator rather?
Let me have a look.
Whilst you're looking, I'm just going to pop to the little boys' room, which is obviously what our viewers wanted to know. Be right back.
No, it looks like a kind of burner phone.
Okay. Fair enough.
This is entertaining for our visitors, our viewers.
Indeed it is.
I think we should draw this to a close for the
Yep.
duration. And yes, so let us say goodbye, and we shall return next week.
Yeah. Well,
You
Dave
are
says goodbye as well from
And
the.
Dave. Well, no,
from-
Dave
oh,
doesn't
no,
say goodbye. Look, there he
Here
is.
he comes. Here he
There
is. He's back. He's back.
We're going to give you an opportunity to say goodbye, Dave, and then we're going to close the feed.
Are we? Okay.
Stop sharing
Bye.
and
Bye.
put us back on the move.